And until next time, goodbye. Hi, and welcome back to the Harri and Marcus video show, where we're doing a very quick run through of some things that have happened this week in music. Starting with the release of T.Rex's album, The Slider, which came out on the 21st of July, 1972. It was in the album they released in between Electric Warrior in 71 and Tanks in 73. And the singles off the album were two number ones, Telegram Sam and Metal Guru.
Metal Guru. First track, side one.
Yeah, yeah.
Really good, really good first track on a LP.
According to my little notes I made when I was flicking through this afternoon, Telegram Sam reached 67 on the Billboard charts, and Metal Guru didn't chart in the USA. A couple of things about it, really. As I mentioned to you the other day, it's credited on the album that Ringo Starr took the photos at the front and back from the Born to Boogie film, and they were doing the Mad Hatter's Tea Party at Ringo's house. Tony Visconti says Bolan just stuffed a Nikon camera in his hand and told him to just reel off two lots of, and he says he's the actual one who took the photo, but Bolan saw it as a bigger.
Taken a long time to come out with that.
He may have come out with it before. I was only reading it. I don't know. I've only read it.
It's you told me that, and I looked at the album, and it clearly credits Ringo.
According to Visconti, he credited Ringo because he thought that Ringo would be a bigger name to have attached to the album than Tony Visconti, which is true. But it's one of those things, isn't it? It's like
I think it's a bit of an iconic picture.
Oh yeah,
an album.
Yeah.
Compared to the other. Although Tanks, I suppose, is the ultimate glam.
Yeah.
One, ain't it? Yeah, we all spotted that back in the day. It used to stand out, didn't that cover? But I think actual photo wise, the Slider cover really, that's glam as well.
Oh, and very, yeah.
The hat and stuff.
I think
the hair and everything.
I think the thing about Tony Visconti is, I'm not knocking his production at all, because he's produced some great stuff for Bowie and for T.Rex. But as he gets older, he started to sort of come out on the internet and be correcting people. No, I did this. No, I did that. No, I did the other. And maybe he did, and maybe he's got to that age where he's really peed off with people taking credit for what he did, or maybe he's just misremembering, or I don't know. For instance, he
can't really. He's got to claim something from the Slider. I don't think he can claim it as being a masterpiece, can he? So
no,
he claims a photograph.
He did claim also that the album is credited as having Flo and Eddie doing all the backing vocals, but he claims they only did the backing vocals on 3 tracks, and him and Bolan did their best Flo and Eddie impression on the other.
I'd tend to think that's more likely, because I guess at any point they just dropped in.
Yeah.
Didn't they? And the album was recorded over a long time.
I'm just having a quick look. I did jot that down. It was the songs were written and demoed through the previous winter, but the recording took place March and April 72.
Yeah, so it's not likely they'd have been there for all of that, is it?
No.
Who knows? But my gut feeling is that that's probably right.
Yeah. Personnel is the classic T.Rex lineup: Bolan, Steve Curry on bass, Mickey Finn percussion and vocals, Bill Legend on drums, Mark Volman, who was Flo, and Howard Kalin, who was Eddie, on backing vocals, and Visconti string arrangements and backing vocals, and produced by Visconti.
I was looking up, because there's one track I was listening to a backing vocal, and it sounded like Linda Lewis, female voice on it. I looked up, I couldn't find any female backing vocalist, but in her obituary, everyone said she sang with T.Rex.
It could well be, yeah.
It's sound, you know, the glam sound moving on was very much Phil Spector.
Yeah, yeah.
No, wall of sound around that
yeah,
period.
yeah.
There's an awful lot going on, and it's a awful lot more than just a 4-piece.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, there's a lot of stuff going on there. Did you listen to the album? Do you know it?
Yeah, I know it because I did have it on CD. I had the expanded double CD. When I was looking through it, it seems that Ballroom of Mars is a popular track because it was used in 2 films, School of Rock and in the Dallas Buyers Club. And Guns N' Roses recorded a version of Buick McCain on their 1993 Spaghetti Incident.
That's interesting because that I was going to mention that track because I'd never heard it before, so I had a flick through it. Really didn't enjoy it, but a couple of tracks. Well, I enjoyed the singles, but a couple of other tracks were all right. But one jumped out to me and thought that sounds like something else. And it was Buick McClain.
Oh, right.
It's got the riff in there for Children of the Revolution. I might be wrong with.
No, you're probably not. Because
no, viewers get in touch and tell me I'm talking rubbish. But it's not the riff from Children of the Revolution, but it's not far to move from there to.
Oh no.
To the Children riff.
I'm having a quick look. Oh yeah. Guns N' Roses cite T.Rex as one of their influences, and Slash has been asked a million times if his top hat has been because of the slider, and he said it wasn't. It's just he liked the top hat. He said it's a coincidence. Whether or not that's true or whether he did take it from the slider is another matter. Interestingly, apparently, the Times, for some reason, reviewed Rod Stewart's Never a Dull Moment, Bowie's Ziggy, Roxy Music's first album, and this all on the same day, or the same week. And the reviewer, who was, I can't even remember his name now, but anyway, he said that Bolan was the least obviously talented one of the bunch, but was one of the better albums of the bunch, and gave it 9.5 out of 10. But I don't think it's better than Roxy's first album. It's a good album, but I don't think it's better than Roxy's first album. But anyway, let's wait.
Yeah, but Roxy's first album could be in a quiet. I could have put that on for loads of people in the past, and I know there's people around now who don't like the sound. They hate early Roxy music. Bob Harris was a big fan.
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah.
But if you like it, I mean, if you like early Roxy, then the first album's absolutely fantastic. But I can quite imagine lots of people not liking it.
Yeah.
Now, Ziggy was much more commercial.
Yeah. I'm never.
And I don't know how Bolan was put up there. And what's the other one?
Never a Dull Moment by Rod Stewart, which was an okay album, but it wasn't classic.
It's another one I've not listened to. As you know, I'm not really a LP person.
Right. Quick stats from 70 to 73. T.Rex to see. They were compared to the Beatles on loads of occasions. They had 11 top 10 singles. Interestingly, and I sort of checked a couple of sites like a glam rock site, and I looked at Visconti's book, Bowie, and the it's wrong. Bowie, Bolan, and the Brooklyn Boy, and Wikipedia, and they all.
I'm glad you checked it there.
Well, that's because I started on Wikipedia to see how many hits they had, but they all seem to cite that this album wasn't the beginning of the end. That came like later in '74 with Teenage Dream, when he's just all of his singles charted really low. But it was this sort of the germs at the beginning of the end. He didn't have any more number 1 singles after this album. and people.
I think the Groover was the start of the end.
Yeah. Visconti thinks or claims in his book that after this album, he tried 4 or 5 times to get Bolan to change his sound and to sort of, because he'd done two albums that were very, very close to each other. And Bolan's reply was always just one more for the kids, just one more for the kids. He did change his sound after him and Visconti went their separate ways in 74, and in 75 he did T.Rex Disco Party. Question for you. Him and Bowie, best mates in the 60s, both with the same manager. I think it was Kempit, but I might be wrong. Bolan made it big first in terms of sort of superstardom. Bowie lasted, 60 years right up until his death because he kept changing and everything. If he'd not died, how do you think Bolan would have fared? Would he still be around now, or would he have sort of faded out and be doing revival tours?
I think he'd have been about, but I think in a way, if you listen to his vocals and stuff, they didn't really change at all, even from the 60s when he was doing his folky stuff. And I think he might have even gone back to a bit more folky.
Yeah.
Music. I think he just really gone too far with that sound, and it was dated yet. Celebrate Summer was fantastic.
Oh yeah, I was just about to say
that's a great record. I'd love to boogie.
Yeah,
it's all right.
Two great records, but I was never struck on his T.Rex Disco Party stuff. Like
no. The other stuff's hard work.
Yeah,
but Celebrate Summer, and I do wonder why that didn't climb back up the charts. Elvis is going down the chart and went straight up to number 1. John Lennon straight up to number 1.
I don't know. Maybe
George Harrison died, and My Sweet Lord straight in at number 1. But Queen, Freddie. But Mark Bolan, there's nothing.
I think that he was just starting to come back with the Mark Show, and he was championing punk and everything, and maybe his fan base had grown up, and they just, when he died, no one rushed out and brought his records. Because his fan base in 72, 73 were all like teeny poppers, weren't they? And then so by 77, they'd be, our age. They'd have been late.
That's an interesting point, actually, is that rather than, his fans growing with him, with the music, he actually refused to change, and his fans outgrew him, perhaps.
Yeah. I think if Bolan...
I don't know.
In today's society with Spotify and everything else, if Bolan died now, he'd definitely chart. There'd be like, Metal Guru and Telegram Sam, whatever, going in the charts. But then, for some reason, people just didn't... I suppose most people who loved him already had the albums and the singles. No one was going to go out and buy them a second time. And did he have an actual single out when he was dead? When he died? Was there anything coming out?
It Celebrates Summer.
Oh, right. I know that was out around...
That's 1977 it was out.
I didn't know if it was out the month he died or not. But, I mean, I don't think... maybe I'm wrong. I just can't see his fans rushing out and buying all his old hits a second time. Okay, well...
Yeah. The 1970s is a time of re-releases coming back in the chart, Look at all the Beatles records that came back in, and they're all going in places. I just think there's something strange why...
don't forget, when Bolan died, it was only 3 or 4 years since his biggest hits, so it's not like they were like the Beatles like 10 years earlier. I mean, if you
had a TV series on, and everything. We were shocked when he died.
Well, we were talking about this on Sunday. I mean, like, obviously, hundreds of musicians had died before Bolan, but to me, like Elvis, a couple of weeks or a month, whatever it was earlier, he was around before I was born. But Mark was our first guy that we got into, was like our pop star that died, and it was a real shock. I remember being more shocked when Bolan died than I was when Elvis died. But now we're sadly getting to that age where there's someone popping up every week or every month because we're getting old. But just to wrap up the T.Rex part of the show, do you have any particular memories of anything to do with T.Rex around the early 70s, or this album in particular?
Oh, not this album at all. I do own a copy now. I think that's just because I'm collecting top 5 albums. It's not been any weird near my record player.
No.
It went it's one of those ones which went straight in another box.
He is very, very much a singles person now. I mean, even though I did have I collected all of the re-release albums. When I played them, I always just played the singles. I never really. I think I played Life's a Gas a few times and things like that, but I didn't really play the album tracks. To me, whereas I played the whole of Ziggy, I would never play the whole of a Bolan album. He was very much a singles person to me.
Yeah.
But do you have any great memories of going to any school discos with T.Rex records or anything?
No, not really. School discos was panicking that I'd loaned him some of my records and watching the person putting the records on every time and collecting every sleeve and record.
I couldn't imagine you lending records to school disco. That must have been a nightmare for you.
It was. It was. All I was interested in was the slow ones, and I'd go up and have a dance with some of the girls. So, which you know the issue at your school.
Yeah. I think me and Pete were meant to be doing the shoulder shuffle and something to Mike Show, and you ran up to jump on me like they do in the rock and roll dances. But I think
that would have been at Twickenham College.
Yeah, and you or someone said something, and I turned to answer you, and you went flying past me. I can't remember.
Yeah,
it was
that was Twickenham College.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's where I entered. I entered the Yard of Ale competition.
Oh, yeah.
And the guy won it in 2.3 seconds.
How can you drink a yard of ale in 2 seconds?
Yeah. And I managed to pour a yard of ale over my face and head in about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I didn't it's bitter as well. So
I
didn't manage to get one mouthful, and this bloke was just tipping it up on the end. And all
I think
this beer coming down.
It falls down, but I don't know how people do it.
But well, they open their gullet and they just pour it down.
Yeah. But anyway, Slider came out this week, 1972. Classic glam rock album, classic glam rock band. Rest in peace, Mr. Bolan.
Just before we finish, we only had 5. I know it's one of the facts you didn't say. We only had 5 top 5 albums.
Oh right. I didn't check that. I only checked the single.
Well, we talk about albums. I thought you'd be coming out with album stats rather than single stats. But
that's what I mean about Bolan being a single. I never even thought about checking his album stats. I automatically checked his.
We had 5 top 5 albums, and he had 3 number 1s and 2 records got to number 4. Tanks and the Slider got to number 4, and Electric Warrior, Born to Boogie.
Oh yeah,
and Prophets and Sages. Mm-hmm. The Tyrannosaurus Rex double album got to number 1.
One site I looked at today claimed, or surmised rather, that this album only got to number 4 because of T.Rex's popularity. The market had been flooded by old recordings being re-released, like Flies, T.Rex Greatest Hits, and Deborah was in the charts, and there was just so much T.Rex stuff around that it sort of saturated the market.
I think it's a poor album.
Yeah. I think if it's a good album, it would have. I mean, Ziggy didn't make number 1, did it? I don't think it did, at least not the first time round.
No.
What about Roxy? They went top 10, but I don't think they went number 1.
No.
I think Rod might.
Rod got number 1, of course. Yeah. Where did the name The Slider come from?
I've done all my checking out and I didn't check that out. Enlighten me.
It probably comes. It probably comes from the Slider song, where one of the lines is when I'm sad, I slide.
Oh,
so
right.
if he's sad, when he's sad, he's no for slider.
Oh, right.
That's
right. Yeah.
Might not be right, but it definitely fits in, and that's from the song called
The
Slider.
You're probably 100% right, because around the same time when they were filming Born to Boogie and they were at Ringo's house and they used to have dinner parties every night, supposedly, according to Ringo, that's where the name for Back Off Boogaloo came from, because he said whenever you say anything to Bolan and he didn't want to answer it, he'd just say Back Off Boogaloo. And Ringo thought it'd be a good title for a single. So anyway, rest in peace, Mark. Next one is a bit of a quicker one. Today, as we're filming on the 23rd of July in 2011, was the sad demise of Amy Winehouse. And as I said to you earlier, I was looking through old newspapers today and I found that I had the Daily Mirror from that was actually from a week later, from the day after her funeral, where her father's put a photo in the coffin and said sleep tight, which is very sad. Amy, according to my quick stats, born in '83, died in 2011. Two albums while she was alive, Frank and Back to Black. On the 50th Grammy Awards ceremony, she won 5 awards, including 3 of the 4 big ones: Best New Artist, Record of the Year, Song of the Year, and Best Pop Vocal. Sadly, she had her demons and died of alcohol poisoning, aged 27, and joined the infamous 27 Club. What do you think of Amy?
A great voice. I saw her in concert on BBC Two.
Oh yeah,
was it earlier this year?
Probably, yeah.
She had a little acoustic band playing with her. Actually, I think her voice was amazing.
Yeah.
She had a great voice, and songs were good. Yeah, it is a sad loss, but when you hear a story, because she was at stage school and stuff, weren't she, with other people?
Yeah.
And stuff, and I imagine she must have had some. She might have perhaps had. It's in the back of my head that she had some troubles at even stage school, and
I think she did, because
she'd obviously got a scholarship or something to go there.
Yeah.
And
she suffered with bulimia as well as the drinking and the drugs. So I mean, she probably did a lot of weight up and down and all that business. I mean, she should have got help, and I think that all the people that were around her wouldn't have got her the help, because she was a meal ticket. She was like, I mean, the story goes supposedly in between someone. She was dead for 6 hours before they found her, and then someone reported her dead. But before the police got there, according to her father, 2 of her guitars were nicked by her so-called mates. I think she was a bit of a meal ticket for a lot of people, with the Camden set, the hip set, and
well, as we know, when you're in that sort of world, there are people who always want to take advantage. That's why I know we're very boring, and so that I think we hate drugs. I know. I've stated that before, and I've been shouted down.
It'll always be there.
Yeah.
Going quickly
but
over
that like I say, that takes you into a world where those sort of people who will take advantage of you. Those guitars probably went to be sold to buy drugs.
Yeah.
If that's what's happened.
I did a quick rundown, looking at her singles. I mean, the one that got banned because of its title, "Fuck Me Pumps." I always like that. Rehab, I'm no good. Back to Black. She did some good singles. I did buy Lioness when it came out, a couple of years after her death. The girl I was living with at the time wanted to get it, and I didn't really like it that much. I liked the Back to Black album, but I think there was only a couple of tracks on Lioness that I really liked, and one of them was an old one. It might have been Cupid, I can't remember, but it was an old 50s one that she did.
Was it that it was unfinished work and someone finished it off?
I think so. I think some of it was unfinished work and some of it was.
It might well have been some of those tracks might have stayed in Nova Vaults, and she'd have written other songs.
Because of her age, there obviously wasn't a wealth of stuff left behind, because since Lioness, nothing else has come out. But anyway, rest in peace, Amy. Which brings us on to...
Well, just a little story. I used to do some DJing.
Oh, yeah.
A while ago, but I wasn't very good. And someone came and said, "Oh, the disco was really going. Everyone was dancing." And I said, put on Rehab. So I looked up the Amy Winehouse version of Rehab, not the Mark Ronson mix. Disco's really going, and I put on the Amy Winehouse version, and it just killed it. It's a lot slower. It's not.
What was that disco when there was something wrong with the CDs, and you put on a track with it was at the club in London, and
that's your list of the number one singles.
Yeah, but I've mucked it up.
You've misnumbered them, and we put on a really good poppy number one, and Peter Starstead, "Where'd You Go To, My Lovely" came on,
and we took it off in horror, and then you
told us to put it back on.
Yeah. But then, what about what's that one? What's the one we put on as a joke at the other disco? And it went down really well. Was it Tweedledum Tweedledee?
It was Middle of the Road.
Yeah.
The tartan one.
Yeah, Tweedledum Tweedledee. Yeah.
Is it? All right. Yeah. And someone came up and thanked us for playing such good music.
Yeah, I found their greatest hits on CD the other day and posted it on Instagram, and that's the track I put on, and woke up the next morning and had one of those notifications that it had reached 50 likes. It's a really weird song. People just seem to like it. Yeah, and next, R.I.P. to Romy, and now R.I.P. to Abdul Duke Fakir, Fakir, who was the last remaining member of the Four Tops, who died yesterday, 22nd of July 2024, aged 88.
Yeah.
I did it very quick.
He stood down and resigned, gave up, left the Four Tops 2 days ago.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
He was still touring last year.
Yeah. It says that four original members: Levi Stubbs, him, Ronaldo, Olby, Benson, and Lawrence Payton. He went to school with Levi Stubbs, and they met playing football in Detroit. Signed to Motown in '63. And
they used to go around parties, and they used to do their friends. They used to do harmony songs and stuff at parties.
They used to sing on street corners, didn't they?
Yeah.
It said that Rolling Stone magazine listed them as number 77 in the top 100 most important artists of all time, which is fair enough. They were. And what did surprise, I thought I'm never going to remember all the singles they did. So I looked down the list of their singles, and so many that I obviously knew. But if you'd have said to me now, listen, I'd totally forgotten them.
If I was a carpenter.
Yeah. I Can't Help Myself, Sugar Pie Honey Bunch, Same Old Song, Loving You Is Sweeter Than Ever, Reach Out and I'll Be There,
Keeper of the Castle.
Yeah. Bernadette, Seven Rings of Gloom, Walk Away Renee, Carpenter. River Deep Mountain High with the Supremes. What I did make a mistake was that I thought that they did Psychedelic Shack, but that was the Temptations.
Yeah.
But it's very sad that he's gone, and it's sad that it's.
I saw him. He was over here, and I think he's playing an outdoor gig somewhere, and someone was sort of interviewing him outside. It's only a few years ago, and it's quite a good sort of interview. It's probably only about 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
They're speaking to him over here in England. And
it's amazing.
It's really interesting.
He was still touring at 88. It's you know, I suppose it's some people can go on, and some people.
Tony Bennett was still doing stuff in his 90s.
Yeah.
I think Frankie Lane was still doing stuff in his 90s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You'll
still be singing in your 90s.
Oh yeah.
But you have to make sure you write the words down in your notebook.
Yeah. I have to I'll do a Brando, because apparently Brando's method of acting was to have his words taped to the chest of the person he was talking to, so he could read them off, because he just couldn't be bothered to learn them. Although it became the way of, apparently The Godfather was like 60% filmed like that, because Coppola was doing rewrites the night before, and there's no way everyone could learn the lines in one day, so everyone was walking around with words stuck to their chest so everyone could read them off and everything. But Four Tops, great band.
Sorry, I've got a vision of someone wearing a cocktail suit or something?
Yeah, evening dress, yeah.
With that white thing.
Oh yeah.
It's rolled out, but rolling it down, and it's got all the words on it.
yeah.
Sorry, that just came into my head.
Yeah, sort of in Brando saying, "I'm not going to make you an offer you can't refuse." Four Tops, great Motown band. Do you have a particular favourite of their singles?
I Can't Help Myself. That's brilliant. I just love that song, and I love the version by Donny Elbert as well.
Yeah.
That's a great version. But no, I'd love the Four Tops. I've got near all those singles you mentioned. I think I've got all of them. They're all top 20 hits.
Yeah. Anyway, that was that was what we agreed our show would be. But I'm just going to throw what we were talking about earlier in, because it's today and it's the fourth member of the music fraternity that's dead. George Michael. Today is the 40th anniversary of his first solo single, Careless Whisper. Great song. As a Wham collector, I'm, as we discussed, peed off because they're re-releasing it in about 17 different versions. And if I really want to be a collector, I'm going to have to buy that, as we discussed, I'm just going to home in and buy the best version. But any memories of Careless Whisper?
Yeah, it was. It didn't really bother me, but I don't think it ever came up in conversation. But I loved it at the time. You know, it was great. I remember walking down Defo or across Ruskin.
Yeah.
And having it in my head, thinking about it, because that's around the time it was out. I might even heard it coming from a house.
Yeah.
Something, or from a radio. But I always think of that, and I think of Ruskin Avenue, Defo.
Oh right, yeah. It's good. It's great. The music. That's one of the I've said it a million times. It's one of the brilliant things about music, because you can keep a diary every day for 10 years. When you look at the word, there's just words on a bit of paper, but you hear a song and you go back. You're back in a certain place, and there's what was going on and the smell. Music's fantastic. It's really good. But Careless Whisper. I mean, George Michael. Obviously, changed track greatly from his early Wham days to what he did solo. But I like Wham. I think they're a good fun band. George Michael did some great solo songs. Well, I think this is probably one of my favourite solo songs. He did, things like Praying for Time and things like that were good.
Faith is good, stuff like that.
Yeah, Faith, yeah.
Faith is a great single.
Faith wasn't a bad album, to be honest. But Careless Whisper was a great song, and also incredibly written when he was 13, and kindly co-credited to Andrew Ridgeley to give him a bit of bunt coming in. So rest in peace, George. Is there anything else you want to talk about music for this week? Anything that's happened this week you've seen in the press or anything?
Not much I want to mention.
Oh, right. Yes. Yes, indeed. Yes. Elton. And Elton promo by any chance?
Yep.
And Elton promo, yes.
Yep. And what's this?
And an Elton promo.
Yeah.
And they.
I'll give the details another day. That's just
but they're all additions to your Elton collection, which must be coming on really, really well now.
Yes, must be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's for another day. As are some of my amazing LPs I bought the other day.
Yeah. We'll carry on. We'll try and do them in the week. So hopefully this will be out in the next day or so. And until we next see you, goodbye and carry on collecting. No, I forgot. Now it's time. If it wasn't for the fact that I disappear off the screen if I went on my knees, the time is for me to go on my knees and beg you to like, follow, and subscribe. We've been away for so long, putting out one video in. Looking at the stats the other day, in 88 videos, 87 of them were shorts, and the last time we put out a full-length video before 4 days ago was 8 months. So we are well and truly out of the algorithm. So
absolutely. How many hits did we have on the last one?
I haven't looked. I'm scared. The last time I looked, it was 7. But now we just got to beg you to like, follow, subscribe, and share. And even if you hate us and you want to
give us a thumbs down if you want, but still subscribe, because we'll guarantee you, if you don't like us, there'll be more rubbish.
Yeah.
Guarantee that to you.
Yeah. And until next time, goodbye.